Sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, that calls me from a world of care, and bids me at my Father's throne make all my wants and wishes known. In seasons
Thank you for being with me this morning. I am very sorry that we have had this challenge today, but these things seem to happen from time to time, and I trust that we will be able to rectify it. These are strange things, and so this morning it is topsy-turvy and it's inside out, but I'm here, and I believe you can hear me now, and so thank you for hanging in there. The passages this morning where Jesus finds himself addressing the folks and seeking to help them to understand where he is and what he wants of them at this time. We find that the parable this morning speaks to the situation in our lives where we are presented with situations, we're presented with options in our world. And we always have choice. That's the beautiful thing about it. We always have choice. And because we have choice, we can choose to or we can choose not to. The owners of the owner of the vineyard, he created a circumstance where persons had a choice to make. They could either honor the request or they could reject the request. And so they chose to reject it, which was within their power. We always have the power. It's a free will. We can choose to or not. And so they did. They chose not to. And we know the story. Sorry I wasn't able to read it, but I trust that you were able to read it on the screen this morning. But this reminds me of the importance of understanding why we are here. And it is a bit of a challenge for us because oftentimes we're being made to, or being asked to make choices that are part of our life's purpose. But if you don't have an understanding of your life's purpose, then the ability to make the choices that are necessary becomes so difficult. I'm always reminded by scriptures of Jesus' own experience. As a child, according to his mother, they weren't sure who he was, and there he was in the temple. And he says to his mother when she inquired about him as to why he did this, he says, don't you remember that I must be about my Father's business? So Jesus comes into the picture as one who had been able from youth to know why he was here, to know what his purpose was. And I don't think it is impossible for us to have that sense of understanding our purpose. But we in our culture don't really consider that important to help our children discern their purpose. We more often not try to find the path that would provide for them well-being. Every parent wants to make sure that the child will do better than the parent has done. And this is because we have become so materialistic in our thinking, and the whole spiritual dimension is almost non-existent for us, as much as we may be religious persons. But the idea is to make sure that one's child has a better option. So the whole idea of life's purpose, not what we do in life, not the career that we have or the profession, but life's purpose, which is a completely different thing, that is hardly engaged in our world. And we're bearing witness to this in our culture as we see, so few of our young people in our faith tradition especially, so few of our young people participating in ministry or offering themselves for ministry, because in certain aspects of Christianity, going into ministry doesn't make money. And we are driven in our world by the need to make money. And so the whole idea of life's purpose, John the Baptist, Jesus, times of discernment, these don't exist for us. And perhaps there's the need for us in our world to be able to start speaking once more to our young people and providing them opportunities whereby they can have those kind of life encounters that would assist them in discernment. You know, in other cultures, young boys and sometimes young women are sent off on a particular quest to find themselves, to spend time alone, whether it is in the wilderness or whether in some cultures it might be in a sweat lodge or on a retreat or something. More and more, some of our young people on their own initiative are taking what they're calling a gap year when they finish the university studies or when they finish the high school studies, and they go off somewhere in the world and they participate in a life that is so vastly different from their own. On many occasions, it is a life that might very well be at a lower financial or materialistic state than the life that they're accustomed to. And the shift, the difference in the experience opens up various aspects of themselves which were not open before because they had no need to deal with these areas. And that in itself creates for them the opportunity to consider, why am I here? What purpose am I here to serve? And the raising of those kinds of questions enables them to discern a little more clearly their life's purpose. It is only then that we can then begin to bring this particular passage into the center of our conversation this morning. Because this is only when I have an understanding of the general dimensions of my life's purpose, what I'm here for, that we can begin to talk about making conscious decisions, about choices. Otherwise, our choices are more often than not dictated by the materialistic world that we live in. So Jesus could be aware of his choices. We can see it in the wilderness. We can see it as he ministered, as individuals tried to get him to do this or to that, or to make him king, or to all various other things. But he was focused. The person was trying to get him to stay in one place when he knew, no, I have to go on. I have other things to do. Clarity, greater clarity. And so we come to the story this morning, and we speak of the stone that the builders have rejected has become the chief cornerstone. And Jesus says, it is better for you if you fall on the stone than if the stone falls on you. And that's clear. That's an obvious statement. But what are we talking about? When I reflect on this, I always think of the whole idea of the choices that we make. Choices that can very well lead to our falling on the stone. Choices that can lead to us being broken. It's a choice, but it's a choice that understands that there will be brokenness. And in our journey, there must be brokenness, because there is so much that we have acquired to ourselves. And this is why those opportunities that young people have, the vision, or to go off by themselves and to go and face hardships or challenges, these things break the person open in order that their true self may begin to manifest. And so that idea of the brokenness, making that choice to fall on the stone, to be broken, to get rid of the layers of societal imposition, and to begin to reclaim that which I'm here for. When I reclaim that which I'm here for, then I have a clearer view. And now, in moving forward, there's greater clarity in my choices because I have a greater sense of purpose. The opposite is the situation where I have no idea of where I've come, but there may very well come a time in my journey where, as I continue to take the choices that don't lead me in the direction that I was intended to go, or I desire to go, or my soul desired to go, it comes a point where there's an ultimate moment. And in that ultimate moment, everything comes apart. Everything comes apart. And we speak about like hitting rock bottom, as it were, where the self that we know is not broken, but it's just smashed. It's completely smashed. And then there's the process of seeking to recover something, or recover or reclaim the self, the real self. And so and that reminds me oftentimes of Jonah. You know, Jonah had the choice to follow the path. Yes, it was going to be a path that would create some situations where he probably was not keen on being a part of, but it was his path. But he chose not to. He chose to run away. And we all know the story of Jonah as depicted in the scriptures, that the storm, the lot fell on him, and they realized he had offended his God, and he told him, "Well, toss me overboard." So he's tossed overboard. In his estimation, that's the end of his life. That is a kind of a death. He goes down into the belly of the wave. He's dead in many ways. But there's a resurrection. There is a coming up again. And so he is now able to move forward. Still has to face the situations that he didn't want to face, but he didn't have to go through what he went through. And so there is that invitation to us to make these choices that lead, yes, to our brokenness, as opposed to choices that lead to our being crushed. So this morning, as we managed through this time together, and again, my apologies, there was a little button that just needed to be pressed, and sometimes that just shows you what happens in our world. And a little thing can cause things not to work. But I want to thank you for being here, and I trust that you would, not only for yourself, but more especially for your children as well, and those little ones who you come in contact with. Encourage them, find ways to help them from early to find their true selves. There's a lot of pressure on young people to fit in, and they feel they must. And when they do that, they are denying themselves the greatness of their own presence in the world. Help them. But to help another, you've got to first help yourself. So let us do our work on ourselves, and then perhaps we will be in a better position to help our children. But we need to help them, and we need to do so in a hurry. So, my friends, may God continue to bless and inspire us as we go through this time together. Remember, be safe and be blessed. We've already heard the hymn, so I'll probably just finish with it, but God bless.